factory too. Hi guys, this is Cephas here. Thanks for coming to the channel. Hopefully you guys liked that video. We had a lot of fun making it. The three of us got together, me, Luis, and Jason, and just had a good time shooting around the place. But if you like that kind of stuff, it would always help to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. We love interaction and hearing the various things that you guys have to say. It's always good. As stated in the title of this video, this is a review of the Holy Warrior S1 Exps3-0, which is a replica of the Eotech. I've owned real Eotechs in the past, and in my opinion, this is the best replica of the Eotech on the market. I bought the Holy Warrior S1 replica from Spec Precision. It's usually a place I go because they have pretty good quality stuff there. So if you want to head over there and check it out, see what they have here. They are not sponsoring or any way compensating me for this video. I just like to pass on information for you guys so that you guys can make informed decisions for yourself. Back in the day, when I first started playing airsoft, red dots were getting more popular, especially the aimpoint comp, like the M2s on Wilcox mounts, Mark 18s, you know, the first edition of the CQBR, stuff like that, and that was very prevalent. But along those time period, a company called Eotech came out, and it was new technology in that it wasn't a red dot, but in fact a holographic weapon sight, and they were offering a different type of reticle too, is otherwise known as today as like the donut of death, right, with a little spot in the middle. It just offered unprecedented speed when it coming to CQB engagements, right? So right here we have, in the video you noticed in the background here, I have one on my 10.3 URGI, and then also we have it here on our MP7 right here. However, I do have aim points, right, or replicas of that. I do use different types of sights here. I mean, we have the Vortex, which you saw the review for, and here we have a copy of the aim point right here as well with the Unity riser. And yeah, I use that from time to time, just to kind of mix it up, but I always got to go back to this guy, right? It is my go-to. Aesthetically, I believe that Holy Warrior has gotten the most accurate version out there. It's not perfect, right? Even though they would like to say perfect replica and everything like that, it is the closest that you can get to the real thing. The color is right. That's one of the things that I notice immediately when I see replica Eotechs, is that the hood color usually is like this goldish color, and it doesn't match the rest of the optic, because here's that double dark earth, and this is dark earth on the not so good replicas. This is like a goldish color, right? It does have gold here, but it's on the lever, which is appropriate for what the Eotech's supposed to have, and on the other side as well. So they get really good, you know, replication of that. The markings here, it has you can choose this on the Spec Precision website on the different types of markings you want. I wanted the mil spec markings here, which I chose because I like those. And there's at least I think 6 different choices you can choose from in different colors in terms of black or dark earth. The buttons feel good. It's a nice tactile sound when you click on them, which is great. The elevation and windage too also have a detent. So when you click on it, it's not a mushy thing, because sometimes you get like a poorly replicated optic and it just, you don't feel it. There's a resistance, but it just turns. And so there's no discernible clicking or next movement, right? As opposed to this one, you can actually feel the clicking as you're turning the elevation and windage, which I really like. It uses the same battery, which is the real one uses. And the throw lever is right here, and it works the same as the real one. So in terms of the construction and the build, it's great. And the look. The hood is pretty solid here. It doesn't feel cheap. Aluminum, though, compared to the real one, which is also aluminum, but obviously I can't tell what type of aluminum, whether it's like 71, 75 or something like that, some sort of designation about what it is. I can tell it's pretty good. I haven't done any drop tests or anything like that, or anything crazy in terms of seeing how strong it is, but it does feel solid. Does it get scratched? Yeah, it can. That may be something, on the edges, on when you bump against something on a wall, but even the real ones will do that as well. So let me just give you a couple different angles of it, and you kind of see what I'm talking about in terms of its looks, right? So here we have a focus. Here we go to the right side. Get a front view. Left side with the markings that I chose, mil spec. Here you have the rear. Here, the window you can see through, and all the buttons are on the side because the XPS versions move the buttons from the rear to the side. Here's the top, the hood. Okay. And here's the bottom with the stickers and whatnot, the rail. It has a night vision button here that I can't verify. When you do press it, it does. It looks like it's turning off, but I don't think so. It's more or less like an extremely dim setting, I would assume, that you would be able to see with a night vision device in the rear. But I can't confirm that because I don't have a night vision device. So, but it does toggle into that mode. So for those of you out there who have night vision, you can test it out and let me know if it does. Brightness, right? So functionality wise, it is very bright. So you turn it on by, same thing, press it up or down. You can increase or decrease the brightness for whatever situation that you need it for. And to turn off is simply press both buttons at the same time and it turns off. Okay? So you turn it on. I'm going to turn it on to max brightness so you can kind of see when I'm here. So let me line this up. Okay, and so that is maximum brightness of the reticle. And I would say I am very happy with it. It is very bright in terms of use in daytimes, nighttimes, etc. I will say though, it is not as bright as a real Eotech. Okay, a real Eotech will almost, when you can turn it so bright where it starts to glare, that does not have that intensity on the Holy Warrior one. But it doesn't mean that it's not usable. It's certainly usable in the brightest settings though, in terms of like daylight or at noon or whatever you're playing at time, when the sun is at its peak. You probably will have to turn this to the highest intensity in order to really get a use. And I've used it all the time. It works great. So no issues there. But I just want to mention that the brightness is not the same to a real Eotech. The other thing is that since, as I mentioned before, this is not a true holographic weapon sight. In fact, it's a red dot that has an emitter that emulates the look of the Eotech reticle. So because of that, it has an emitter, right? The real Eotechs don't have an emitter. It's a holographic and it displays it onto the plane ahead. So if you ever look at a real Eotech, when you try to focus on the reticle itself, it looks fuzzy, right? And so what you're supposed to do is look through the window onto your target, and then when you look at your target in the distance, it looks clear. With this one though, when you're looking directly at the reticle, it looks clear. And that's a sign that you can know that whether it's real or not. When you buy the Holy Warrior Replica Eotech. It comes with a few things in the box. So you get this case right here. They used to have a cardboard one, paper one. So this one's kind of nice in that it has the little latches, and you can probably use this for other things, right? Instructions if you need it. Quick reference card in terms of battery use, holographics, mounting, and the control buttons. Also, they give you a little microfiber cloth. Also included in the package they give you is this sticker set that you can put onto the Eotech to kind of give it that more authentic look. And lastly, what they include is probably what I feel is the most useful about all things is a lens protector. When you turn it on, you can actually see the emitter through. You see that dot, right? So that may not be a big deal in a bright daylight or in a game. However, at night, depending on how dark it is around you, we did a test and I was standing in like the shadows and at night, and then I turned it on and my friend said, yeah, I can see that dot right there. It's very faint, but it is noticeable. So when you're playing at night in a night skirmish, it's something to take count. Maybe you want to reduce the brightness down. I had it on so like a pretty high setting because we want to exaggerate it, but turn it down so it's less visible to people around you. It's also, you can see it from the rear as well. Obviously, it's right down there, so yeah, you can see that. The other thing about this replica is that battery life is decent. It is, again, I don't think it's unfair to compare it to a real Eotech in that way, but real Eotech is about 800 hours or so of nonstop use at like a, I don't know, 6 or 7 setting, I believe. You're not going to get that type of hours usage out of this guy right here. I've already had to change a few batteries through my usage and time, but it's something you accept when you buy a replica. Because this is a replica and not a true holographic weapon sight, it relies on what all other red dots rely on, is a reflective surface. On the real Eotechs, the front glass is I don't want to say non-reflective because all glass reflects, but it's clear. There's no coating of like blue or silver tint. Of all the replica Eotechs that I've seen, this is the best, the closest that I've seen to the real ones, but it's still noticeable. It's like a slight silverish reflective layer on the front glass, which aids in to show that the reticle to the user, right? So they do have that. When you look through a real, see that right there? It looks like a mirror, right? If I put it at the right angle, you see my hand and stuff like that. Real Eotechs wouldn't do that. If, depending on how you're setting it up, right? If you're doing type of thing where you have the optic and the laser in the front, I would recommend getting some sort of riser like we have here. This is like a basic one. It wasn't very expensive, like, you know, 10 bucks, but it definitely raised it enough so it could see over the D-ball we have here. Without it, the D-ball would have been right about this level, and then you would have seen all these things obstructing the view. You can see right here, the view window is clear of any obstruction, so you can see things clearly. You know, on this one, on the URGI 10.3, we got the Unity fast mount, and you can see here, same thing. And got that, and it clears the D-ball, right, nicely. No obstruction, okay? So that's something you can do. I recommend that also because it just allows for a natural cheek weld to kind of, that way you don't have to go hunched down like this. The other pro tip that I would recommend is when you're using the lens protector, I would recommend putting some sort of tape or a rubber type of thing to kind of build up the sides to give it grip. From my experience, it's like, especially when using gas blowback type of rifles or weapons like the MP7, the recoil will, without that type of friction from the sides because of the rubber or whatever tape you use to secure it, it will slowly start to walk its way out because of the recoil action. I have seen that when I use it initially without it, and you get something like this at towards a game, and you kind of push it back in and it comes back out. So that's something I would recommend doing in order to make sure, one, you don't lose this, and second, you don't lose your protection, because This is cheap. This is like $5 to $15 depending on where you get it and who you buy it from. This is much more expensive, relatively speaking. So I would recommend doing that to ensure that you retain the front glass protection. In conclusion, I love this optic. I couldn't recommend it more. So I think the price is appropriate considering what it is. It's being marketed towards airsoft. Exceptionally built in terms of its look and replication, and it works great. So what more can you ask for, right? But again, I'll let you guys decide about what you prefer to use. Again, I have nothing against the aim points. I think they're fantastic as well, but it's just my preference, my opinion. On behalf of the team here, I'm Cephas. Thanks for coming and watching. We appreciate you. Take care and God bless you guys.